All right, so you're prepping for that senior software engineer interview. And let's be real, system designs, especially microservices, can be a real make or break topic.
Oh, absolutely. It's like the ultimate test, right?
Yeah,
Can you design a system that's not just functional, but resilient, scalable, yeah, all those buzzwords we love?
buzzwords, but crucial ones. I mean, think about it. You're building something complex. It's got to be able to handle anything, right? And a lot of that comes down to understanding this idea of coupling.
Yeah, coupling.
Yeah.
How much different parts of your system rely on each other? Like in a team, if everyone's stepping on each other's toes, things get messy fast.
Exactly. And fragile. One person goes on vacation, the whole project implodes. We definitely don't want our systems to be like that. So in this deep dive, we're going deep into different types of coupling in microservices, all based on this awesome article we found.
And trust me, understanding coupling is huge EE for senior roles. It shows you can think about the big picture, the long-term health of the system. That's what interviewers want to see.
So let's jump right in. The article kicks off with this concept of domain coupling, and they use this example of Musicorp. They've got a service for ordering CDs, and to do that, it needs to talk to the stock service, A&D, the payment service.
Makes sense, right? To complete an order, you got to know what's in stock and then process the payment.
Totally. But have you ever worked on something like that, where you've got this one service that's like the central hub talking to a ton of other services? I have, and let me tell you, it can get hairy fast. What's the key to avoiding those headaches from your experience?
Well, the truth is some level of domain coupling is just inevitable. Services got to work together, but the red flag, like the huge EE warning sign, is when you've got one microservice that's talking to like a dozen others.
Oh, I see what you mean. Too many dependencies.
Exactly. It's a sign that maybe that service is doing too much, violating that single responsibility principle that we strive for in software design. Each service should do one thing and do it well.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So thinking about the interview, how does this all play out? Like, what kind of questions might they ask about this?
Oh, they love to give you a big complex system and say, okay, hotshot, how would you break this down into microservices? And this is where understanding domain coupling comes in clutch. Because you can say, well, I wouldn't want to create these massive interconnected beasts. I'd break it down into smaller focused services with clear responsibilities.
That's senior level thinking right there.
Ooh, mic drop moment. Now, another concept that really caught my eye in the article was information hiding. Sounds kind of like something out of a spy movie, right?
Right. But it's actually pretty straightforward. It's like, imagine sharing a cake recipe. You'd list the ingredients, the steps, but you wouldn't give them your entire pantry inventory, right?
No, that would be a bit much.
Exactly. In microservices, it's the same idea. Each service should only expose the information that's absolutely essential for others to interact with it. You don't want to overshare. Okay, so like, instead of giving access to the whole database schema, you'd provide a specific API endpoint just for checking product availability, for instance.
Exactly. And the reason this is so important is that it helps us avoid tight coupling. The more information services share, the more dependent they become on each other.
Right, so if one service changes its data structure, it could break a bunch of other services. Ouch.
Exactly. But if you keep that information hidden, you're creating this nice, clean separation, makes it way easier to change and maintain things independently. Flexibility.
Flexibility, got it. So speaking of dependencies, the article also dives into this other type of coupling, temporal coupling, which is all about timing.
Yes, temporal coupling. It's like when you're stuck in traffic because there's an accident up ahead, everything grinds to a halt. That's kind of what can happen with microservices when one service is waiting on another to finish before it can proceed.
They use this example of, the order needing the stock service to be available right then and there to check inventory. It creates this potential bottleneck.
Right.
You ever run into that?
Oh, countless times. It's a classic example of how synchronous communication can create temporal coupling. One service is sitting there, twiddling its thumbs, waiting for another. It's not a good look.
So how do we avoid that?
Well, one way is to embrace asynchronous communication. Think message queues, event-driven architectures. It's like leaving a message instead of waiting on hold for someone to pick up the phone. Services can communicate without being directly dependent on each other's immediate availability.
Right, so if things keep moving, even if one service is down or taking a little longer to respond,
Yeah.
much more resilient that way.
Exactly. And that's the kind of insight you want to showcase in an interview, because when they ask you, how would you handle this situation? You can say, well, I'd consider asynchronous communication to avoid temporal coupling and create a more robust system.
That's gold. It shows you're not just aware of these concepts, you're thinking about how to apply them in real-world scenarios.
Precisely. And that's what sets senior engineers apart.
So, to sum it all up, acing those system design questions is about demonstrating you can think big picture, anticipating those long-term consequences of your design choices.
Couldn't agree more.
And understanding coupling, both domain and temporal, is a powerful tool to have in your arsenal.
Absolutely. So here's a final thought for all you listeners out there. As you prepare for your interviews, take a look at your current projects. How can you apply these principles, minimize coupling, and really level up your designs? It's the best way to solidify your understanding and walk into that interview feeling confident and ready to impress.
Perfect advice to end on. Good luck out there, everyone.
You got this.